Hello and welcome to the Humanity of Sales, where purpose meets profit. I'm thrilled to be back with you here again today. I'm your host, Heather Hansen O'Neill. We have an amazing guest for you today. But before we go there, I would like to spend 30 seconds in gratitude. It has been wonderfully busy working with some incredible organizations on bringing the humanity into their organizations, creating a culture of humanity with the keynotes and the group coachings and the retreats that we've been doing and seeing the way that they're responding to it, to the concepts of really coming from humanity in all of their interactions with their teams, with their customers, into interdepartmentally, and how they show up out into the world and their communities, how it's making an impact and they're seeing the returns back to them organizationally. It's so rewarding. So I want to say thank you first. Thank you for the opportunity to share this message and to see the results of it firsthand. It's been absolutely astounding and humbling, and I needed to start with a little gratitude. It's always a good place to start anyway, isn't it? So I would love to share with you a little bit about our guest today. First, I'll just fill you in on the fact that she is the founder of Freedom from Foster Care. Now, I'll give you her intro when we bring her on the show, but as it usually happens in my world, is that things connect. And so when I make the decision to bring this lovely woman onto the show, I start to hear other stories about foster care. So recently, I had a wonderful conversation with someone whose family had been foster parents for an amazing child, and they just officially adopted him last weekend. And seeing them talk about how the family had adopted them, it's just, it's amazing because I felt like arms, like hugging, like an embrace of this child from all generations within this family system. And so that is 100% one of the positive, heartwarming stories from foster care, but they're not all like that. And so I would like to introduce you to our guest today. So let me introduce her to you now. Lakievia Lucky Johnson spent 5 years in the Georgia foster care system. She has over 25 years of experience advocating for foster children, and now as a foster care survivor and a parent impacted by family separation, she advocates for parents' rights too. Lucky is the founder of Freedom from Foster Care, a nonprofit organization committed to ending generational foster care. She's also completing a doctoral degree in strategic leadership. Lucky is a passionate activist and has found joy in supporting parents to help them keep their children out of the foster care system. Lucky believes that people who were in the foster care system should be the best parents and is on a mission to prove it, ending generational foster care. This is a wonderful topic for today. Lucky, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me, Heather. It's such an honor, and I just really appreciate you reaching out and asking to learn more.
Of course. After our initial conversation and then learning a little bit more, diving into a little bit more about what you do, I thought this definitely is a wonderful topic for the humanity of sales where purpose meets profit. So before I jump into some questions that I really want to know about that advocating that you do, can you give us a little more information about your background and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, so the introduction you gave pretty much said a lot of everything. And in a sense, I guess that purpose that I think our lives really just add up, right? So things happen in our lives that shape who we are, and that shapes who we become and what our purpose in life is. And so this is a trajectory that I hadn't foreseen ever in my life. But then, when there's a need, it has to be met. And we know that, like through business, like that's how we start our businesses. So there's a need, and we see a need, we have to meet that need. And then here we are.
Yeah.
And so I hope that helps to answer your question. But if there's something specifically you want to know, feel free to
No,
ask.
no, we'll get there. We'll get through all of it. I just like to hear a lot of times I'll read something and I like to hear from you. So feel
Yeah,
free at any time to elaborate on any stories that you have. My listeners love good stories. So
thank
you've
you.
shifted from advocating just for children to also advocating for parents' rights. So
Correct.
can you talk about maybe what sparked that and how it's come about and maybe even expanded your vision of what's possible?
Yeah, I absolutely love your question. Thanks for asking. So, when I spent time in the foster care system, I guess like right around the age of 14, I got involved with a program called the Independent Living Program. And in the state of Georgia, it's a really awesome program. So, it's designed to help people who are in the foster care system age out in the best way. So
Mhm.
that basically that program like helps with housing and helps them get to work. Basically, they have a choice. Either you're going to go to work or go to college. And if you choose to go to college, it helps pay for college, different things like that. And so to me, it was absolutely a program that no youth should ever miss out on. And so
Mhm.
that is where my work began in this space. So I actually was a recruiter. I worked for the independent living program. I spoke to other children I met who were in the foster care system and told them about the independent living program, told them about meetings. And before working for them, I did this just out of the kindness of my heart because these are benefits and services that I believe everybody should know about, right? And the
Mhm.
problem sometimes was not even knowing that this service was available to us. And we were eligible to become involved in the program at the age of 14. And
Mhm.
so that's when this began for me. And to this day, I still do work to advocate for the rights of foster children. I still reach out, still connect to people, still make sure, hey, do you know what services are available? Are you getting those services? Speak on national forums to raise awareness about the foster care system and services that we need, as well as the benefits of services we have.
Mhm.
However, as you stated in my bio, and as we previously discussed, when I became a mom, I left a toxic relationship. And, from there, everything just kind of went downhill. I went through the court system, having no experience going through the court system, not even really knowing how to contact an attorney, not knowing how to advocate for myself with attorneys when attorneys weren't really advocating for me the way I would do for myself. And that became so troubling and just traumatic for me and my daughters that I realized, hey, like, there's no one to call, and there should be. Like,
Right.
having been in the foster care system, I should know certain things. I feel I should know certain things that I just didn't know.
Mhm.
I also believe that I should have the skills to be the best parent. So, having been attacked in a courtroom and basically gone through a situation that typically stigmatizes or that makes the general population believe, oh, this is a bad parent, when that really wasn't the case, but it's just set up that way to make us think those things,
Mhm.
opened my eyes to the injustices in family court first and foremost, and then the injustices that people who were foster children especially experience, because we deal with stigma while we're in the foster care system, and then when we get out of the foster care system, it's like we have points and strikes against us already that we should not have. And so, again, no one to call in the whole state of Georgia to ask for help. And so I said, I'm going to start Freedom from Foster Care because this is absurd and there needs to be a solution for this problem. So I hope
Mm.
that Freedom from Foster Care becomes that solution. Mhm.
Yes, it really does. And you know what? As you're explaining the different situations that you encountered, there seems to be a little bit of a common thread of there being, they're either is already resources that people don't know about, or there aren't resources that there should be. And so there's a lot of, I think, education that's missing, educating people on
Right.
what is available to them, on
That's right.
what tools that they need, what resources that they need. And so, what you've done to with freedom from foster care, it you've created another resource that is invaluable for people to help them through this journey. And sometimes with things like what you created, as well as the resources that are already available, it's letting people know that it exists, right?
That's
That's
correct.
why I wanted to invite you on here, because people don't know, right? And we want the people out there who need these services to know that it is available for them. So thank you for doing that. And you know that, what was it called? You said independent living program that you,
Yeah,
is that right?
that's
So
correct.
I gotta think that you definitely got a lot out of that and gave a lot to it, because your doctoral program, I mean, you took advantage of the education element, I'm sure, right? Tell us about that.
Yes, and to an extent. And
Okay.
so, one of the downsides that I also experienced having been an activist in the foster care system is retaliation. So I don't necessarily like to talk about this, but that is the truth. Sometimes when we're like, hey, we're not getting access to resources, there are systems leaders who don't like that information out in the open.
Oh,
So I was always
okay.
that person like, oh, there's a problem here. And I suffered a
Hmm.
lot of retaliation, which is why family separation happened to me, or why I was separated from my daughters. And also, I basically had to make a choice. I wouldn't say I was kicked out of the independent living program, but because I wasn't getting my benefits as a form of punishment for speaking out about other children not getting their benefits, I had my benefits stripped from me when I was a junior in undergrad.
Oh,
And
no.
I actually went through a private program that helped with scholarships and things. But basically, I finished out my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and now even my doctor's degree on, or doctorate degree on financial aid. And also, the program, the independent living program, as far as I know, doesn't cover a graduate degree
Right.
either way.
Hmm.
So I took advantage of the independent living program for as long as I could.
Yes.
But then when it came to making a choice between taking and being silent when I watch other people not having stuff, to speaking up to make sure that everyone else had as well and equally and equitably, I
Hmm.
chose to make sure we were all treated fairly and equitably. And of course, there was a consequence to that. But
Yeah.
there's no shame, because guess what? I'm
No.
here talking to you today.
Right. No, not at all. I mean, you should be very proud of that, because we don't know about some of these injustices that are taking place, right? Some of those ways that people undermine having a voice, whether it's in the foster care system, whether it is for specific ways that you're advocating for other people. I see that these types of things happen a lot, a lot
Mhm.
more than is talked about. And people often come to me, with an idea, but they don't know how to find their voice. And you
Wow.
found your voice, and it was people were trying to quiet you, right?
Mhm.
And I am a big believer that we need to do whatever we can when somebody sees an injustice, when somebody is trying to do the right thing, that we support them, we give them
That's
a
right.
megaphone, right?
That's right. I agree.
Nice.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad that you did it, that you followed that passion. Now, so
Thank you.
you've got this, you're working on this doctorate, and is it done yet? Or you're like this close, right? How
I'm
close?
like this close.
You're this close.
That's
You're
a
this
good way
close.
to say it. This close. Hopefully, I'll walk across the stage next May. I am a
Okay.
doctoral candidate, so I have completed all of my core classes. Right now, I'm just in the research. So I'm in the literature
Gotcha.
review phase.
Uh-huh.
I've written my literature review. I'm working on edits,
Okay.
and then I'll be able to start. Well, I can reach out to potential study participants now, but
Hmm.
that's kind of the next phase that I'm getting into, getting people together to conduct my study, and then more and more writing. And then
Yes.
hopefully, yeah, I'll walk next May.
Oh, that is so exciting. Now you're doing
It
this
is.
in strategic leadership,
That's
which is
right.
like a conversation, the topic that I could talk about all day long. I absolutely love it. It's awesome.
Thank you.
So, how are you finding that that strategic leadership is being applied? Like what you're learning, how is it being applied either to your nonprofit or in your interactions in business? Are you seeing things like this?
That's such a powerful question. So there are a few ways. And I feel like I just receive blessings on this every single day. And so first and foremost, in my day-to-day job, so I am a certified project management professional. So I have a PMP. I work as a programs and events manager. So thinking strategically is being cultivated in my studies all the time. Also writing. So I'm a very highly skilled writer. If that mean I didn't come out correctly, but highly skilled writer. So I do a lot of writing within my organization and outside of my organization. I actually just wrote an op-ed that is published in the imprint called "A Family Defense: The Natural Transition from Foster Youth Advocacy to Parental Rights
It's
Advocacy."
very good.
So
Can we add that to our show notes for you too?
absolutely,
Okay,
yes.
awesome.
And I
Good.
have more. So if
Yeah.
anyone looks at that, they can see more from this author and they'll be able to see
Okay,
other things that I've written as well.
good.
So my writing skills have definitely become a lot stronger.
Hmm.
And then one other thing I know too, having been in strategic leadership and studying this, is that leadership is an ongoing process. We don't just wake up one day. I understand the great man trait. I get that. I get all the different theories, but the truth of the matter is that we don't just wake up as leaders. Leadership is an ongoing developmental process. We
Hmm.
cannot rush greatness, right? We cannot rush the ability to lead others because it's not just about the skills that we have, it's about how we can cultivate skills in others as well. So that helps me within my organization, Freedom from Foster Care, a nonprofit organization. That's the full name of it.
Oh, sorry,
Also
I shorten
within
it
my day
sometimes.
job. Oh, it's okay. Freedom from Foster Care is trademarked for a
Okay,
reason, so you
good.
can totally use that. I was so proud
Thank
to get
you.
that trademark. No, 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 that's fine. I love freedom from foster care.
Mm.
Somebody has to lead that process, right? So that's
Yeah.
another way that strategic leadership shows up in my work. And then last but not least, research. So because I have gotten so skilled at research, I now my it's the weirdest thing, Heather. Like my brain is now automatically conditioned to just like, oh, I have this question or this inquiry. I'm gonna go research it. And I probably don't research like other people do. Like I don't go and pick up a book. Although now I know 100% I can. I'll look for a peer-reviewed article. I'll look for like what's going on right now and see what's going on in this space and just do
Mm.
like this empirical research that I would have never done before. So
Ah, you're
it
learning a
definitely
lot.
shows up. Yeah.
Good. Wow. I love to see how things are applied. And let's say that we have some listeners here today who are feeling called to find their voice, to start
Yeah.
something important,
Yeah.
but they feel like maybe they are not ready or that they need to finish something within themselves first, or and maybe feeling a little imposter syndrome or whatever it is. Do you have some words of wisdom for them?
Oh, yes. So I think I saw your post this month that said there's a such thing as a no fear day. Did you say that? Okay. I have no fear. Like you already are, right? And I think that the holdup for some of us sometimes is feeling like we're not good enough for whatever reason. But I'm a person of faith, and I believe if it has been planted in you, it has been planted in you for a reason. And our gifts make room for us. So if you just like lean into that and trust that instinct and that nudge that you're already getting and feeling that I should do this, then you'll be able to do it. So
I
don't
love
be
that.
afraid and trust that you have what you need already to be great.
You already have it within you. I love that,
Yes.
Lucky. That's wonderful. Now, with a show called The Humanity of Sales Where Purpose Meets Profit, we really like to marry the business and the nonprofit world and the ways that businesses contribute and how that comes back and impacts them and what role that humanity plays in all of it. So I'm curious about your opinion. What role do you see humanity playing in business today, or what would you recommend for people who want to do more as it relates to that human to human connection, doing good, serving our communities within businesses?
I think that is a really powerful question, especially as I think about the history of business. Before we called things business, there was the human to human connection, trading and bartering. And before we even had cars, boats that went to different places and people there to say, hey, I have this for you. That human connection is all that creates business. And so we have to communicate with each other. Um, One thing, this past weekend, I actually led a workshop speaking to some youth on how to fuel their student campaigns. And I hope I never forget this, but one thing really resonated with me from one of the student leaders who said in our conversations, how powerful it is to just say hi. You never know, like even how you and I met. You
Hmm.
just said hi. You never know what comes out of that, whether your business is for profit, nonprofit, or benefits based, where you're trying to do really great things for other people.
Hmm.
We get nowhere in any of these businesses, and absolutely not even a profit, without this one word, hi.
Hey,
So without each other, there is no business. And so the humanity is what fuels our businesses all the way around the board, from beginning to end, start to finish.
yes. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm glad you said that because I agree with it wholeheartedly, but it's nice to hear it come from someone else's lips.
Yeah.
Lucky, I love what you're doing, and I want you to keep making a difference.
Thank you.
Is there what's next for you? What's like other than next May when you walk in, the stage? But what's next for you with the nonprofit or in your personal life, whatever?
Well, I'm going to keep saying hi to people, right? Like that's going
Okay.
to be first and foremost. Just
Uh-huh.
hi, just that's all I have to say is just hi. We'll go from there.
Uh-huh.
Um, and one thing, as I mentioned earlier, blessings just from my studies. I'm meeting more people who are in the law enforcement space. And as I talk about my dissertation, looking at critical consciousness and how that shows up in law enforcement leadership, how it
Mm.
helps with their strategic planning and organizational performance, I'm understanding that people in the law enforcement industry love to have these conversations. There are entire degrees on law enforcement, and in my space specifically, working in the foster care space, the social justice space, family defense, law enforcement is critical for us because our interactions with them, especially,
Mhm.
determine the trajectory of our lives as people in the foster care system and then even as adults. And so it's starting to all come together in a way that I didn't expect or intend, but it's helping me build relationships. And it just goes back to what I said before, where when it's in you, just trust it because our gifts make room for us. And so I'm leaning into this gift that I have. I'm going to say hi and I'm going to go from there.
I love it. And you have such a beautiful smile so that your high is
Thank
accompanied by
you.
your heart through your smile. So who's not going to
Oh,
say hi to you? Come on.
oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll definitely make it a point to give the biggest smile when
There
I
you
say
go.
hi, too. Yes. Thank you.
Outstanding. All right. So thank you so much for being with us today, Lucky. Keep doing what you're doing. And those of you out there who are listening right now, make sure that you check out our description, our show notes here so that you know how to get a hold of Lucky or learn more about freedom from foster care. Say the whole thing for me, Lucky.
It's Freedom from Foster Care, a nonprofit organization. Yes.
Oh, that's easy. I could do
Yes.
that.
It's actually a nonprofit organization in the title
There you
of
go.
the organization, but Freedom from Foster Care for short is absolutely fine.
Okay, outstanding. All right, so for those of you who are listening right now, if you love this show, share it out with a friend. Let us know what you think. And thanks to everyone today. Keep moving forward, one human connection at a time.
Woo, thank you so much, Heather.